Hey, what's going on, Spurs Nation? This is Rob Trejo Jr. You're watching Beyond the Arc, where we talk about the San Antonio Spurs. And today is the first day of preseason basketball for the San Antonio Spurs. We're recording this on October 7th. Happy birthday to my wife. Shout out. Love you, everything that you do for us and our family. So, the Spurs have three games this week. We have OKC, we have Orlando, and then we have Utah on Saturday. And then we're going to have two preseason games left next week against the Miami Heat and the Houston Rockets. Now, let's talk a little bit about today and just talk about why today is interesting. One is because we get a firsthand look at the OKC Thunder and some of their new pieces that they've added, which is Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso. We get to see kind of how that looks up firsthand. And this is kind of an important game here because we go against them again once their regular season starts two or three times there in the first week or two of the season. So we're going to get a lot of OKC and a lot of Houston and Utah a few times as well. And those are some of our preseason matchups. So those are good to have on our schedule because we're about to face them quite a few times here in the first month or so of the season. So very important games, low key, to keep our eye on. Some of the things that I want to talk about here are our eye watchers, right? What am I going to be watching, keeping my eye on when these games kind of start rolling out today, Wednesday, and Saturday? Is first thing, I think that the starting unit, I'm not too worried about it. The additions of CP3 and Harrison Barnes, I think it's going to click right away. I don't think it's going to take that much time for them to get rolling. So, I expect heavy minutes from them, maybe like the first 5 or 6 minutes of the first quarter, and then they'll get subbed out kind of late, and then they'll play maybe a little bit in the second quarter in tonight's matchup versus OKC. I would expect to see something like that, which is good. First eye watcher of the night is Blake Wesley and Malaki Branham. I want to see how they kind of fit themselves into a role in this preseason. I think those two guys have tremendous opportunity to contribute to this team, and it's really just about identifying, not only what they do best, because I think we've kind of figured them out in terms of like what style of basketball NBA player that they both can be, which are very different players. So there's a lot to be excited about if you're the San Antonio Spurs because you always kind of need to fill a couple certain areas of need throughout the season. I think you have two guys that can do that. I think Malachi was talking about in training camp how he's been working in the weight room trying to get his defensive technique up, and he's really trying to work hard on the defensive end. And we all know he's a bucket, and it's just about being consistent with him, putting that ball in the hole, which he also talked about. We haven't heard a lot about Blake Wesley, but we know Blake. We know what he's about. He's going to come pick you up full court, and he's ready to kind of make a name for himself on the defensive end, which is always a great thing in San Antonio, and that's a smart approach to trying to get some minutes. So I'm very excited to see kind of how they, mold themselves into this in these first, few games and see what that looks like and how that can help this team coming off the bench. So I'm very interested to see how Charles Bassey kind of rolls out in this preseason and seeing how many minutes he gets, how good he looks, how comfortable he is on that knee. Coming off an injury, he's been out basically the whole season for almost a whole year. So he's extremely valuable to the dynamics of this team and the versatility of these lineups. Talking about playing him alone without Wimby is an asset for our defensive unit in the back in the bench. And thinking about playing him with Wimby, it just kind of opens up Pandora's box to letting Wimby do other things besides be the primary rebounder or shot blocker. I think it can work. I think Wimby can play with another big, and let him run, right? Let Wimby run and cause havoc out on the perimeter. So very interested to see how that kind of affects the game plans and the lineups for the Spurs moving forward. So keep an eye on that as well. Obviously, we're here to also see OKC and Chet Holmgren and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and we want to see how their young guys look. So very excited to see this matchup. Always great to see Chet and Wemby go against each other. Every time those two guys match up, it's like pay-per-view, must-see TV. So those guys get at each other. So I'm interested to see that round 3 or 4, whatever it is now. I'm going to finish up this episode just by talking a little bit about training camp and what we're hearing out of training camp. And, there's a lot more expectation, I think, is something that, we can take away from all these media availabilities that they're posting on the Spurs YouTube channels, where I'm watching a lot of these post practice interviews, hearing a lot of CP3 and Harrison Barnes, positive talk there about them coming in, about teaching these younger players kind of just what it takes to win and be professionals. And CP3 is always talking about how he's learning from the young guys as well, and they always teach him new things, and he steps up his game because of them as well. He never takes all the credit, kind of like giving credit back to the evolution of the game and how younger players are driving that, and he's learning as well, right? So that's good. Harrison Barnes, we're hearing a lot about them just being pros and teaching these guys how to come in and work and be professionals and take their craft serious. And they've had a lot of positive things to say about the young guys, Devin, Jeremy, obviously Victor, the Harrison Barnes was talking about Malaki, how he's looking good in training camp. We're hearing a lot of good things about KJ and his physique and his conditioning and how he's coming into the season. So very excited for KJ about that. I'm a big KJ supporter. I think the zero fits. I actually was at a few games in Austin and got to see him wear it in Austin his rookie season. I did a lot of content covering KJ's rookie season. If you go back into my channel, you can find a lot. Very very excited for KJ, and I think this is going to be a big year for him. I think that he's going to come off the bench primarily, but I see him being like a de facto starter anytime Sohan or Harrison Barnes are going out. I don't see them kind of sliding in Champagnie. I think Keldon deserves his flowers and deserves to start in those games. Julian Champagnie is another guy who I'm not really too worried about. I know what he does now. I just want him to do it and see him do it more efficiently. Always kind of coming out with that killer mentality. I think he does that. I think that's why they were able to start him last year. So he comes ready to play. He comes locked in, and you kind of don't have to worry about him. And I'm not really too worried about if he starts or not, or who starts for Devin while Devin Vassell is out. That's another topic of conversation. He's going to be out for a little while, which is okay. I think it's totally fine. I think we should be able to manage and be competitive. I'm not saying we're going to just blow out teams, but we should be competitive without Devin. I mean, you got Wemanyama and a lot of veteran pieces that are solid, and it's the beginning of the year, so you can catch anyone slipping on any given night. Teams haven't really figured it out yet, so I'm very excited to see this preseason roll out. I'm very excited to keep an eye on how the offense looks, coming into this season. I know primarily we saw a lot of free-flowing offense. I think I'd like to see more set plays to kind of get guys in spots and let them, and not just Victor. Like, I want to see Jeremy be in the best place to be successful. I want to see KJ and Malaki and all these guys come out and just get cleaner looks. And, so I want to get those guys cleaner reps, higher efficiency on those reps that they're going to see all year long, so they can build on those looks all year long. For the past few years, it's been like so random. You really don't know what you were going to get in terms of like looks on the perimeter. You're just attacking closeouts, moving the ball and all that stuff, which is fine too. But I mean, we got to have a go-to punch. And, I hope we see a lot of that from Victor. I hope we start seeing 3 or 4 opening possessions, just, Wemby. It's like, everyone chill out. Let's let them, deal with the Wemby factor first and see how they handle that. Then we start picking them apart. Boom, boom. Okay, this is what they're doing. Okay, we're going to cut them backdoor here. We're going to swing and find that guy in the corner over there every time, right? So I'm very interested to see how everybody kind of connects on the offensive end. Defensively is very interesting as well. I think when we start talking about defensive things to keep an eye on, Stefan Castle, another guy who can come in like Stefan and Blake Wesley on the court, the ball pressure and the instincts. Man, let's get out and run. Let's get out and run with those two guys. So Stefan Castle, not really too worried or concerned about the offensive end. I think he's what I'm hearing about him. A lot of people are talking about him in training camp as well. I think that Stefan Castle is being made out to be someone who's very mature for his age, has a pace to the game, doesn't rush himself, which all sound like amazing things. But year one, like I talked about in the previous episode, he's going to need to earn defensive opportunities that create offensive opportunities. He needs to get steals. He needs to get charges. He needs to get blocks. He needs to get out in passing lanes. He needs to put pressure on the ball whenever he can. He needs to kind of be a smart defender and create those opportunities. Once you create those, the offensive end just kind of comes to you. The ball just finds you, right? So I think year one, we're not going to be drawing up any plays for him. Maybe we get to see him at point here and there. Pop talked about he can play the 1, 2, and 3. I've always said I kind of see him more as a 2 and 3 guard than a point guard, but that's only because I haven't seen it, and I need to see him be a high-level decision maker if he's going to be a point guard. I mean, we had Derek White. You remember that you see Derek White now, he's just like a robot. He's just like A, B, option A, no, option B, no, then it's option C. And he executes on it. Or, maybe it is B and he finds the shooter or he scores, whatever. He needs to be like a high level decision maker where every single play he's making the right play. And I think that if Castle can get to that point and be able to shoot the ball, like I said, also, you got to be able to shoot the ball. As a point guard in this league, it's what it takes now to get those points up on the board. So, we'll see what happens with Stefan Castle, but primarily I would love to see him match up tonight on the defensive end. I would love to see him kind of impose a little bit of attitude there against OKC also. So to kind of wrap this up a little bit more, we got Orlando on Wednesday, another good matchup. Love to see those starting units go at each other for the first 5 or 6 minutes of that preseason game. That's what you want to keep your eye on, and then kind of watch how the rotations play out and how the bench players play after that. Because the Spurs are only going to be playing these guys so many minutes. Maybe next week when we go up against Miami and Houston, we get to see a little bit more run out of that starting unit, a little bit more closer to regular game rotation minutes. But right now it's just small sample size. Get them a little bit on the court, get their legs under them, and all that. Utah on Saturday. We play Utah also like 2 or 3 times in the season, so another interesting matchup there. So I'm very excited for this season. Very excited to see what Wemby looks like coming into year 2. Can't wait to get Devin back. Jeremy, I'm super excited for him. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people because the pressure's off. All eyes are off of him, really. And he's just going to be coming out of nowhere and slapping people in the face with dunks and just, getting contact, getting nasty, getting rebounds. And just he's going to be able to do all these little things at a high level, I believe, in Jeremy this season. And then the whoever starts for Devin, I'm kind of hoping it's Malaki, because I think Malaki has a similar kind of X factor to him. He's looking to get the shot off, looking to score. And Malaki had a great rapport with Wemby last season. Great rapport. Nice, a lot of pick and roll, dump it down passes, and they worked really well together. So I think Wemby and Malaki is something to see hopefully in this first few games without Devin. Julian Champagnie can start or he can come off the bench. He's ready, so I'm not worried about that. Of course, I want to see Mamu out there. I want to see some of these younger guys play also, and all that. But truly, I'm just very excited to see the little small sample size of the starting unit and to see how these bench guys can kind of figure out their roles. Because again, they're very capable. These bench guys, like whatever this starting unit needs and whatever these first 6 or 7 guys need in terms of like support from those 8, 9, 10 guys, if it's rebounding, scoring, pace, defense. And you got Trey Jones, you got the Malaki, Blake Wesley deal, you got Stefan Castle, you got Bassey, you got Collins, you got Champagne, you got these guys that have gone already a lot of NBA run. They should be stepping up in terms of like confidence, and they should be able to be one of the, I would say, a really formidable bench unit in the NBA. So all that being said, thank you guys for watching. Shout out to my wife again. Happy birthday. Love you. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Go Spurs Go. I'm going to try to do a weekly thing here with you guys. All right. Mondays. All right. So stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel. Like this episode. I appreciate y'all. Go Spurs Go.